Hey, did y'all know 45 and 45 makes 90? Yep, listen to this shit. So, as most of you probably know by now or haven't figured out, that I am a contractor. I work on stuff for a living. I do roofs, anything that really has to do with the house. That's what I do. I've been doing this for a very long time, on and off, but mostly in personal time as well, from the time I was about 8 years old, helping out my grandfathers and my father and everything like that. So the owners of the company I work for, they approached me last week and said, "Hey Christian, we want to move into the new house by the end of next week. Do you think you could do the floor for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've done flooring a bunch of time. I have no problem. I could do that for you. No problem." They're like, "Cool, because we want to move in by the end of next week and whatnot." It's like, "I got you. No problem. Don't worry about it. It'll be done." So I get to start it on the floor. So I'm looking at the floor and whatnot and notice, oh man, they've already painted. The molding's already painted, the trim at the bottom and everything. So I said, hey, I'm going to gap this floor from the molding. And then when we're done, we'll put the quarter round on there to seal it all and it'll look good. They're like, yeah, we were looking at that too. We were talking about that. But they're like, yeah, if you think that as well, we'll just roll that. Perfect. I said, awesome, cool. We're on the same page. Let's do this. So that's what I did. Laid the flooring down and everything, made sure that was all good and whatnot. So then they brought in the quarter round for me. So then I start laying everything out. Do my measurements, my corners and whatnot, make sure everything's good. Now, I was taught when I was younger, we're going back about 20 years now, that when you're doing molding and everything like that, going around corners, you're going to want to cut them at a 45-degree angle on the corners on each side so you have a nice smooth, it goes around, it looks good. And you're not just smacking two pieces against each other going, that's good, send it. So that's what I do, and that's what I've done for years. And I never questioned it, thought into it, and whatnot. That's just what I was told, how I was taught, and that's what I've done since then when I was about 10 years old to do it. And it's always worked and it's looked great. So why question it? If it works, it works. Run with it, buttercup. So that's what I'm doing. I laid everything out. I get to my corners. I do one corner. I do two corners. I do three. Now I'm on the fourth corner. So I go to my saw, set it to 45, make my cut. Turn the saw so I could get the other side to 45, make my cut. Awesome. I walk over that corner to lay it down, and I take the two pieces and I hold them together. I'm like, oh, that makes a 90. Son of a bitch. And it clicked. It finally clicked after all those years of me not questioning and whatnot. Hey, why do you make it at a 45-degree angle? It's just because it works. No, Christian, there's a reason. Because you know what? The corner of a wall is at a 90-degree angle. And what does 45 and 45 make? That makes 90. So yeah, it was one of those moments, but then I got really excited. I'm like, oh my god, that's why I've never thought about it, but this makes complete sense now that 45 and 45 makes a 90-degree. I'm like, good lord, I'm like, this is freaking awesome. So I looked at my bosses, I was like, hey, did y'all know that 45 and 45 makes a 90-degree angle? And they just look at me and go, really? I said, listen, y'all already know how I am. You know that's just how my brain operates, and sometimes shit just clicks a little later in life than it should. This may be about 20 years late because, at the same time, that's a lot of numbers, and my math don't always math too well all the time. So I know you're going to get some of the people in the comments that are like, oh, you're a contractor. You shouldn't be doing this. If you're questioning that, that's just making you realize. Listen, again, we're contractors. We don't do this because we're the smartest individuals. If we were the smartest individuals, we would have went to college and became an engineer, but we do this stuff to fix that stuff. You all know what I'm saying, so get off my rumpus, god damn it. And frankly, I really don't care what you unfrosted Pop-Tarts care, because this is me, this is how it works, it's always worked, and my shit looks great when I'm done with it, so eat it. This is definitely the one moment I am glad, and this is probably the only time I'll say this, that both my grandfathers are no longer with us and they have moved on to the light, because they probably both would have smacked me in the back of the head so damn hard I would have a welt on the back of my head the size of a watermelon. Because I know my father already smacked me in the back of the head when I told him about it, and he was like, I'm seriously questioning everything I did raising you, boy, because holy shit. Anywho, I'm rambling now. I just had to get that off my chest and let y'all know that 45 and 45 equals 90, always and forever. So remember that any new guys coming in, that's why you cut them at 45, because you're going around that 90-degree angle. So I'm going to leave it there. I love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Peace.